Oh my gosh, dome architecture. Yeah, you're taking me back to the days of Buckminster Fuller. Buckminster Fuller was one of the gurus of the dome architecture. He came up with a geodesic dome. And I remember meeting Buckminster Fuller back in the early 80s. Excuse me, it was late 70s. And I remember he rolled in his wheelchair. He was already in a wheelchair at that time, but he would get so worked up about talking about geodesic domes that, boy, he would get out of his wheelchair and he'd start yelling and start getting excited about his concepts and philosophies regarding geodesic domes. The geodesic dome, the way he presented it was really very creative and very cutting edge at the time structure. However, as time went on, we went on to see that really it wasn't very functional in the use of designing everyday buildings. I think that one of the more famous buildings out there is probably Epcot Center. But I think that was a perfect way to visualize how this could be used, because you have this dome that would be enclosing a big area, blocks perhaps, of neighborhoods that could be able to control temperature and, exposure to light and so forth. It was a concept that was very innovative at the time, but really did not catch on. Will the future bring that technology back? I really don't know. But what I can tell you is that we are being able to use that technology and morphing it with other technologies, like, for example, stadiums. Stadiums do use a truss system that developed out of the geodesic dome, and be able to use it with tensile structures. A lot of stadiums have been able to use that. Some not very effectively. Some of them have been pretty effective, but it's a technology that I think that to this day it's still evolving. And it will continue to be used, not necessarily as a dome per se that you can live in or work in, because truly inside it's not really functional to how are you going to layer levels inside a dome, right? It's very, very difficult to be able to see that, to be able to do that, and you just simply don't see it outside. I remember there was a company that once they developed a home that was a geodesic dome, and every now and then you would be driving through the countryside and you see one, boom, out there in the middle of nowhere. And it was kind of cool to be able to see it. But I always wondered how functional that was to be able to live in this dome outside in the middle of nowhere. There really aren't too many examples, but really the one that really comes to mind is the Epcot Center. When that was designed and it was built, it was really cutting edge. How it housed this big area where you could go in and be able to see this geodesic dome that covered all of this area, and you could control temperature within the building. For kids, an amusement park like that was very, very creative. That really, got their mind going. Made them think a lot. And I think that that's really what the purpose of it was. I think that that's probably the one that is very well known out there. I think it was more of a fashion statement. They were actually pretty cool to be able to see. Buckminster Fuller was really, really excited about this technology that he championed through. And I remember him when he spoke, I never forget that this one kid was crying in his presentation, and he yelled at the kid, and, he told him how he should be paying attention, and yelled at his mom and told her that she should teach the kid to pay attention to technology that is historic in nature. And he really made a big scene out of that. Most of us laughed about it, but needless to say, he was very, very passionate about that technology. As it worked out, you really don't see these geodesic domes popping out in every neighborhood. Didn't quite work out, but his technology certainly was visionary for its time.